Thank you, Jacie Hoyt and the Cowgirls, for keeping the hopes of a revitalized Gallagher-Iba still alive. Speaking of, with Isiaha Miranda out and the KU Jayhawks now gone, how much longer does Mike Boynton survive? That seems to be the 5 million after April. It's a question.
You are Locked On Oklahoma State, your daily podcast on the Oklahoma State Cowboys, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Howdy, y'all, and hello, all. Welcome back to Locked On Oklahoma State, your daily stop for all things Cowboy and Cowgirl related. My name is Cody Stovall. I want to thank you kindly for stopping by. We're available on all of your podcasting platforms, visually as well on YouTube. Find me personally on Twitter at AllDayOState. Today, we are partially brought to you by LinkedIn. Today's hires can feel like a complete crapshoot, right? That's why LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the right team faster and for free. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. Terms and conditions apply. The terms and conditions that were applicable to the KU Jayhawks appearance in Gallagher-Iba were surrendered, or at least they should have been, or at least that's what ended up happening. Now, just like we had discussed, we had opportunities to win this game. Just like we knew the opportunity of it getting somewhat ugly was always there. That doesn't typically happen. Bill Self doesn't have a massively glowing record inside Gallagher-Iba Arena. He's still Bill Self. He's still successful. And he's also still kind of a cowboy, right? So it hurts the heart always and forever when KU beats us on our home floor. It's another thing when they beat us the way that they did. It wasn't even close. 90-66. Now, I don't want to beat on the negativity drum all daggone day. There are some positives. Bryce Thompson needed 14 points to become part of the 1,000-point club. He got that. He dropped a cool 20. A cool 20 in front of Sam Presti. And the Thunder always have an eye on talent. They also always have an eye on Stillwater, Oklahoma, because it used to be the pinnacle for basketball production. It meant something. And I'm not saying that it doesn't, and I'm not saying that Mike Boynton doesn't realize that it does. But I am saying that with this loss, the way that it happened, right? The way that it happened, it makes everything in regards to the hot seat, I don't know, heat up. This was not only a bad loss, but the crowd found a way to kind of matriculate in throughout the course of the game. And as the crowd poured in, the score got more out of control. And that is the issue. The issue isn't necessarily getting people in Gallagher-Iba Arena, especially for this big of a game, because it is KU. They are number 3. We do oftentimes find ourselves in a position of success in this game, but it didn't happen. It didn't shake out in our favor. Not a lot of things in this game went our way. When you look at some of the deficiencies from the Mike Boynton basketball teams, a large percentage of the time, it's the inability to get it done in the crucial moments, right? That wasn't this. That was our heads getting bounced up and down the floor like a basketball. Bill Self got to exact any amount of revenge he wanted for some of the last few times that he has lost on that floor. It's not a good look. And we just mentioned Sam Presti being on hand. Well, who is one of the biggest gets this entire offseason? Isiaha Miranda, the big-time bona fide star, the McDonald's All-American style of guy that we were able to land. It was a very big deal to get Isiaha Miranda from NC State. Everything seemed to be shaking in our favor. Javon Small is exactly what we hoped he would be when he showed up on campus. Bryce Thompson is seeing some progress for the most part this year. Mike Marsh can do his thing. Brennan Garrison has proven to be not only a disruptive force, but an absolute problem for other teams to deal with athletically alongside the touch that he has. The leadership on the floor isn't completely foreign. We're able to run some half-court sets here and there. We are still having those issues, though, of going 4 minutes without a bucket. Even if you're playing a team that's not even on your level and you're allowing teams to go on 14, 16, 18-point runs, not only is that a recipe for disaster, but that unfortunately is the recipe of disaster that's been being baked up for the last few years. That's the frustration. This was a pivotal moment in the season. Now, you guys know we love capitalizing on financial capabilities right here on the Hammer the Over Club. And I'd be willing to bet some money right here, right now, that if this keeps up, let's say 3 more games, if this happens 3 more games, God forbid it be consecutively, but if this happens for 3 more games, I would bet that we are, in fact, looking at some limited days numerically. It's where we're at. Unfortunately, right? It's almost feeling like the lay of the land. The lay of the land for you, before we discuss some more of the Isiaha Miranda debacle, is capitalization. Just like Mike Gundy, just like Oklahoma State, Jacie Hoyt, and Mike Boynton. And for you to capitalize, you got to have the right team. LinkedIn is the right people to help you find the right team. There's a large multitude of reasons why they're ranked number 1 in small businesses for gaining quality candidates. Matter of fact, it's so easy that 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate in the first 24 hours. LinkedIn Jobs is number 1 in delivering quality hires versus the leading competitors. Thankfully, with LinkedIn, the process is super intuitive, quick, and easy. They've got a wide variety of professionals with a B in billions to help you. So do yourself a favor. Go to linkedin.com/lockedoncollege today. Again, that is linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. Go there now to post your job for free. Terms and conditions to apply. I'll tell you what else is applicable is the fact that we're not able to completely have every horse in the stable at our disposal. When we lost Mousa Cisse last year, when we lost Kalib Boone last year, it was obviously not going to be easy to deal with. But then we gain Isiaha Miranda, a 7-footer with crazy athleticism, with the ability to stretch the floor, shoot from the outside, have a nice free throw percentage, and be able to bang some bodies here and there. From a basketball perspective, he had all of the tools, which is why he was a blue chip style of guy. He was a steal for Mike Boynton. Now, we don't need to trace back the steps and say, well, what if we could have had, because that doesn't matter. Does it matter that the roster is insanely young? Yes. Does it matter that Isiaha Miranda isn't playing? Yes. Because you got to have everybody at your disposal when you go through some of the mini exodus that you have over the last 2 seasons. And once again, we've had discussions about getting a pass, partially because of the NCAA screw job, partially because of how he handled it, but also because when you heard about some of the selfishness going on in the locker room after we got, cut out from playing in any postseason play, darn near halfway through the season, mind you, when that happened, you kind of can understand some of the discontentment, right, for lack of a better term, in the locker room. So again, it's another iteration of a pass. You can't keep giving passes. If he would have won this game, with or without Isiaha Miranda, then he probably would have everybody in Cowboy country feeling just a little bit better. But that's not what happened. And Isiaha Miranda wasn't on the floor. Isiaha Miranda is not able to help us. Neither is Kalib Boone. Neither is Mousa Cisse. Neither is a multitude of other guys that would be juniors, seniors, that would be leaders, that would be able to help stem the tide when you do lose somebody that you plan on being a pivotal piece. Mike Marsh was always going to be a dude that could bang bodies down low like Tyreke Smith. But he's not the offensive prowess that Tyreke Smith is. He doesn't quite carry the same athletic ability that Tyreke Smith does. None of them have the athletic prowess to go alongside the rebounding capabilities that we lost to Mousa Cisse. But with Isiaha Miranda, you're able to cover a decent amount of that loss up. Brendan Garrison was always going to be a dude this season. He was going to have to be. But you would think that building him on a little bit slower would have been the ideal scenario. I think if you look at the quarterback position in football, it's a perfect example. Back in the day, if you were drafted as a quarterback, it didn't matter what round, who, what, when, why, where. You had to wait your turn and bide your time. And then you had the guys that waited in the wings, like Steve Young did with Joe Montana. And then you have some scenarios like a Mason Rudolph that we just saw that he was able to flourish because he had some time. He had some time to sit and build and understand more. That way, it wasn't flying by him at 1,000,000 miles an hour and figuring it out the hard way on the run. Brendan Garrison is doing that. Now, he's excelling. Absolutely. Positively. He's a bright part of the season. Absolutely. But this does hurt Mike Boynton. This definitely was a very big dagger in building some steam into this Big 12 play. Started off 0-3 in this conference. That's okay. You lose to KU, even though it's in Gallagher-Iba, which is where we need to capitalize the most. It gives us the most opportunity to do anything in the postseason is if we win at home in Gallagher-Iba Arena. Now, Jacie Hoyt gets it. But yeah, the days appear to be numbered because of everything we just mentioned. And on top of that, you have the KU performance and just the lackadaisical nature in which it was done. The lack of energy, effort, focus, call it what you want to call it. We have the talent. That's the maddening part in all of this. And I'm not just saying because of the recruiting class rankings. Now, we all know when you talk about football again, especially as Oklahoma State people, we get it. The recruiting ranking number is not always a direct correlation to the talent you're going to have. We get it. But when you have all of the talent and then you see them perform individually on the floor, and then in spurts, it looks like amazing amounts of success are about to happen for it to just fall apart, and we go 4.5 minutes without scoring a bucket, 5 minutes. It doesn't matter. It's not all lost. On today, Coach Mike Boynton's birthday, he can turn it around. Again, we just discussed the talent portion of it. We know there's talent on the bench with the coaching staff too. But you got to start stringing some stuff together. If that happens, let's just paint a beautiful picture, right? A wonderful, rosy, orange picture. Let's say we win 4, 5, 6, 7 in a row. Let's say we do that at the back half of this slate. Let's say we roll that into the Big 12 tournament. Let's say we make a run in the Big 12 tournament. Maybe not to the championship game, but really, really close. Then maybe you have a different conversation. But right now, with the way the trajectory is going, the conversations have to start and end at, are we potentially looking at who's next? There's not a Cowboy out there that ever wanted Mike Boynton to be anything but massively successful. He's just too great of a guy. He's too phenomenal of a representative for Oklahoma State. But you got to win, especially on this court. That floor is hallowed ground. Those halls have had legend after legend after legend walking through them. The lack of ability to adjust, to get better, to develop, that's what's frustrating. The losses in the instrumental times of the fourth and final areas of opportunity, those ones are rough, but getting beat the crap up, that hurts too. That hurts a lot. Just like if you're hurting, okay, before we get to the awards here, and of course, Jacie Hoyt and the Cowgirls, guys, I got to let you know, if you're hurting, or you know that there's potential that anybody out there can be hurting, you got to get with Jase Medical. They are the best. Even though we come to get away from all the craziness in the sports landscape on shows like this one, we also have to realize that we have to be prepared. And right now, the FDA is saying the pharmacies are running out of antibiotics like amoxicillin right in the middle of this crazy flu season. Now, y'all know I can't imagine a more helpless feeling than me being caught without a couple medications that I absolutely have to have 24/7. Thankfully, I'm going to end up being all right because of Jase Medical. The Jase case is a pack of 5 different antibiotics that treat a long list of bacterial illnesses, respiratory infections, sinusitis, skin infections, and more. This stuff could happen to any of us, and we all need to make sure we're prepared 24/7. Visit jasemedical.com. Complete your physician encounter. It will be reviewed by a board-certified physician, and your medications will then be dispensed by a licensed pharmacy at a fraction of the regular cost. It has never been more important than to be prepared today. Go to jasemedical.com and use the offer code LOCKEDON to get $20 off your first order. Again, that is jasemedical.com. Go there now. Use the code LOCKEDON for $20 off your order. Jacie Hoyt and the Cowgirls get it done again, and dag nabbit, does it feel good. And it was fun to watch. That is some of the difficulty, I know, with the men's game at the moment. Women's game, not a problem. We took BYU behind the woodshed and we taught them a thing or 7 or 11 or however many you want to put out there. going on crazy runs. That is the name of the game for this Cowgirl basketball squad. Some of the same difficulties we have with the men's side of the game are the benefits of the women's side of the game. Jacie Hoyt knows how to do this thing. We have the best center in the Big 12 in Hannah Gusters. We have the best freshman in the Big 12 in Staley Hurd. Not to mention the sharpshooting capabilities of Lior Garzon are already next level. Ana Gradasi, sometimes she doesn't have to be shooting. Sometimes she can be dropping dimes like tonight. Getting W's is great, but absolutely destroying your opponent, that's pretty cool too. It's a revitalizing feeling, is it not, after what we just experienced on the same floor with KU? Now we get the other side of the coin, taking down BYU Lady Cougars 82-50. We outscored them in the paint by like 18 points. We outscored them on fast breaks by like 20 points. We dominated in the paint. It was a beautiful thing to watch. And that's kind of why I wanted to discuss what we all need to be doing is having the experiences that we know we should be having as Cowboy and Cowgirl faithful in that building. It doesn't matter who, how, when, what, why, whether it be Mike Boynton, John Smith, or Jacie Hoyt. The experiences that a full Gallagher-Iba provides is life-changing. Now, you all know this. We've had this discussion. It's not just a basketball game when it's 13,000 plus. It then transcends that into an experience. If we want to have Jacie Hoyt around forever and a day, she needs that. She needs to feel that, as do these Cowgirls. Because if there's any recruits on hand for, let's say, a February 3rd Bedlam, packed out, sold out, rocking and rolling Gallagher-Iba Arena, they will commit. They will sign whatever piece of paper you put in front of them. And that is the beauty of what this Cowgirl basketball squad is giving us. The ability to get inside of Gallagher-Iba Arena and feel the feelings of what it's supposed to be. So make sure that we all spread the wealth, spread the word, spread the love. The hashtag Hoyt House Crew is going to do everything in our power to help promote, push, and make sure that Jacie Hoyt and this Cowgirl squad starts getting an experience that they'll never forget. Bring on the Lady Shorthorns. They're riding high, but we are too. And with Bedlam on the horizon, there's not a better time. This Cowgirl basketball squad is worth every single penny. And for anyone out there that is curious if we've ever put 13,600 in Gallagher-Iba for a women's game, yes, we have. And Miss Riley dropped a cool darn near 50 points on that day in front of 13,611. This Cowgirl squad is that level of fun. They're worth this level of excitement. So let's all get behind this daggone train. The train that is this Cowgirl basketball squad. And let's pack Gallagher-Iba. Every game that we can, obviously, from here until the end of time. But I really want to find a way to help shoot for the moon and get over 13,611 for February 3rd's Bedlam matchup. Guys, it's going to be the last time the Lady Sooners are going to be in Gallagher-Iba for their send-off party. So let's send them off the right way, and let's also, at the same time, show Jacie Hoyt and this Cowgirl basketball squad why Oklahoma State is a once-in-a-lifetime spot. It is a destination, especially for this building basketball brand. All right. Speaking of brands, we got to hand out a couple of awards. Number one, the first award that we're going to hand out ever on this show. And yes, eventually, I would like to get this to where there's maybe even a trophy presentation. I don't know that, everyone would accept their trophy like this first ever recipient of the 2023 Big Doofus Award. It's unfortunately our former, somewhat very own AJ, the crazy wreck of a machine Ferrari. That guy is just too much. And I do think that he was unfortunately partially responsible for Oklahoma State wrestling going the wrong way. He was a great wrestler. Winning a national title as a freshman, especially at Oklahoma State, is a massive deal. But he was obviously a little bit of a distraction because the Cowboy wrestling squad we see now is light years different. The mindset, thought process, mentality, it's all different. It's all better, which is why, AJ, unfortunately, buddy, you win the first ever Locked On Oklahoma State Big Doofus Award. And the next award for 2023, we're going to call this the Weak Sauce Award. And this goes to Mr. Donald Brent Key, the head football coach for none other than the mighty yellow, blue, purple, something jackets of Georgia Tech. Yeah, those ones. And for context, the reason being is because, most coaches put out their polls at the end of the year. And I don't know, 99.89999% of Division I coaches with a brain obviously put Oklahoma State in their top 25. Between 12 and 16 was pretty common, and that makes sense. But that dude, Mr. Weak Sauce himself, Brent Key, either let one of his aides that doesn't know football fill something out for him, or the poor dude just doesn't know enough football. So we're here to help out. We're here to inspire. So hopefully we now can help inspire and do our little bitty part, Mr. Brent Key, for having some football IQ or making sure you don't have helpers that don't know what the game of football is either. That would help. And that's also all we're going to have for this wonderful episode right here. I appreciate you. As always, I love you. God bless. Go Pokes. Thank you for tuning in to make this your first listen here on Locked On Oklahoma State. You could be anywhere. So happy you choose to be here. Like it. If you like the daggone thing, share, comment, subscribe. My podcasting people, I love you. You're the rock. You're the foundation. You're the core. You know the drill. Later, taters.